All right, I want to ask you both a quick question about politics. We're getting very close to the end of the show. Since you are the Republican and Democratic nominees, Mr. McKee, you were one of the first round politicians to endorse Joe Biden for president back in 2019. We did do a poll earlier this year showing less than half of Democratic primary voters in Rhode Island want Biden to run for re-election again in 2024 when he'll be 82. Do you think President Biden should run again, or do you think he should step aside?
President Biden's been the best president for the state of Rhode Island, and that's what my job is, to make sure we take care of the state of Rhode Island. I've been in his office. I also have been on the calls with him about women's rights. Certainly differ with my opponent on that, and also on offshore wind. So yes, my answer would be yes. If he is feeling as though that he can run, we should support him as our next president.
All right, Ms. Kalis, you've said you accept the results of the 2020 presidential election. As you know, former President Trump has not. If Trump runs for president again in 2024, will you support him?
You know, the questions about Trump are a distraction. He's not running. And
he might. He says he's considering running.
I'm focused on this election and this president. We just spoke about President Biden. There was hope that President Biden would unify the country, and instead the country's more divided. There was hope that we would come out of the COVID crisis stronger as an economy, and instead we have an economy that is not working well for everyone. So I would prefer to speak about the current president, because that is what is impacting Rhode Island.
But are you open? Mr. McKee answered the question. Are you open to supporting President Trump if he decides to run again?
I am not going to answer hypotheticals about a race that may or may not happen. I would like to talk about the issues of Rhode Island, and I'm happy to speak.
We're going to move on to
the issues of Rhode Island actually are an overflow from Trump's administration, especially as we talked at length on the Supreme Court.
All right, let's.
I mean, he doesn't. I don't think you understand economics. Actually, they're not an overflow. If you understand Keynesian economics, then what you would see is that are you talking about inflation? Because inflation was caused by putting too much money into the supply, which caused an inflationary crisis. So we can talk about economics.
I don't want the debate to go into Keynesian economics right now. I want to go to truck tolls.